How's it going, everyone? It's your boy Crickview here, finally with a new video. This time, instead of a shitty gameplay video with no commentary, or a commentary video with no commentary, I'm doing an anime review of two OVAs. The two OVAs I'll be talking about today are Ginga Ojo-sama Densetsu Yuna Kanashimi no Saiden, aka Galaxy Fraulein Yuna, and Ginga Ojo-sama Densetsu Yuna Shinen no Fairy, aka Galaxy Fraulein Yuna Returns. These OVAs are incredibly short. Like, quite literally, both of these combined are 5 episodes in total, or a runtime of 2 hours and 29 minutes. In that time span, I could make myself breakfast, go outside, take a walk, come back, and then realize I already finished all of it about 4 hours ago. Anyways, some context before talking about the show. What exactly is Ginga Ojo-sama Densetsu Yuna? Well, for starters, the source of this anime is actually from a visual novel franchise of the same name. The first OVA, Kanashimi no Siren, came out in September 1995, and from what I've read, the plot is the exact same as one of the games, that being Yuna FX. Now, I want to preface this by saying that I am missing literally all of the context possible required for this anime. I have not played a single one of the Galaxy Fraulein Yuna games. Not only that, but even if I really wanted to play the games, which would obviously be cool to be able to gain the story which sets up these OVAs, I'm completely unable to because the games, at least as far as I know, don't have an official localization for foreign audiences, and sadly I'm not a JOP.
The reports we're getting is that you're flashing people. I don't exactly have, the biggest... How's school going? It's going alright. Doing really well in Japanese.
My apologies, young man. I did not realize you were a man of culture. Good luck on your JOP journey. You are free to go.
Both of the OVAs were handled primarily by the studio Animate Film, a studio also responsible for some other works you maybe know of, such as Tokyo Babylon, Black Magic M66, Plastic Little, Shin Captain Tsubasa, among others. Now, with that bit of context, we can begin to talk about the actual OVAs themselves, starting with...
Something's wrong. That's not L-Line. It's a fake! Yuna, you're finished! You're such a blockhead!
The story of the first OVA goes something like this. Kagurazaka Yuna, our protagonist, is a 16-year-old schoolgirl who, as we are told by the narrator at the start, has already saved the universe not once, but twice from total doom. We see her participate in a contest where she wins by slamming onto the earth as fast as she can to cook an egg. Roll opening. Afterwards, we're introduced to her friend Yuri, a character whose only joke in the OVAs is that she's always hungry, and honestly that kind of makes her look like a massive asshole most of the time. She might actually be like a top 5 representation of gluttony in fiction. From then onward, the actual main plot begins. Something of note about this OVA, at least, is that it is very lighthearted and comedic. Our protagonist herself is clumsy, naive, and has a deep affection for all of her friends, including a sort of celebrity in this universe named Polilina who she obsesses over. However, to be honest, not much of the comedy is actually funny. I can't say a majority of the jokes in the show got even a chuckle out of me. Most of the time I was just laughing at how stupid the show gets sometimes. Like, for example, this one scene where this fucking character mentions Shakespeare out of nowhere.
シェイクスピアも顔負けの悲劇といったところでけれど私にとっては愉快なことこの上ない光景だわ
I think part of the reason as to why the comedy sucks isn't just that the jokes themselves are not funny, but it's also the pacing of it all. The anime is incredibly fast paced, to the point where it just doesn't allow the jokes to even land before they're like, okay, next scene. Anyway, let's get back to the story. A new mysterious student named Misaki joins Yuna's school, and immediately after this, for some reason, Yuna is so infatuated by her that she quite literally, and I'm not joking when I say this, starts having lesbian fantasies about her.
ねえねえ、美咲って子、さっきから私の方ばっか見てない？きっとユナさんに気があるんです。私に気が？まさか。私、ユナに恋したみたい。恋って美咲さん、私たち女の子同士だよ。そんなこと関係ないわ。愛があれば、性別も時間も年齢も人種も超えられるのよ。ダメだよ、ダメダメ。そんなこといきなり言われても心の準備が。ダメ。私にはポリリーナ様っていう心に決めた人。
Well, that's interesting. However, plot twist, Misaki is actually an investigator for the so-called Galactic Alliance who investigates Yuna for planning to conquer the galaxy. However, this is actually a ploy made by Fraulein D, or Devil Fraulein, her actual name, in order to kill Yuna so she can conquer the galaxy. She sends Yuna on a chase to find a puppy while someone takes control of her mecha and starts destroying the city while proclaiming, "I am Yuna, I am the destroyer of the world," and some other random shit. Misaki sees this and is convinced Yuna is indeed trying to take over the galaxy, and she takes her captive, but then Misaki later for some reason starts to doubt Fraulein D.
なぜフロイライン D はあそこまでユナにこだわるのだろう。
I'm a little confused about this because Mizaki has no real reason to doubt her. Like, in her view, she literally just supposedly saw Yuna herself destroying the city, and that was enough to convince her to take Yuna captive. So why the hell is she having her doubts now? I mean, sure, maybe she was being a little overboard with it, but at the same time, if someone was threatening the entire universe or galaxy or whatever, and you had a chance to kill them, why wouldn't you be? So much for being a special A-class inspector, I guess. Anyway, Polilina and Yuri get to the Galactic Alliance headquarters and meet with Misaki, and Yuri explains to her that Yuna is actually innocent. Some other not worth mentioning stuff happens. Misaki saves Yuna right before she's about to be executed. Yuna pulls out a fucking spirit bomb. And then it's happily ever after for our cast. Also, for some reason towards the end, all of the characters gain consciousness and start breaking the fourth wall.
ユーリ、またそんなにユナにくっついて離れなさいよ。どうでもいいけど、私たちの出番少なすぎない？でもセリフのない人もいますし。ユナさん、私たちを誘ってくれないなんてひどいじゃありませんか。いいの、私はいつも仲間外れ、こういう役回りだもん。
And that's the end. Roll credits. Overall, the plot of this OVA is just incredibly basic. It doesn't do anything horribly bad, but it doesn't do anything that's noteworthy either. Let's acknowledge one thing. These OVAs were obviously created for the purpose of promoting the games, but let's be honest, it does such a horrid job at it. It acts more as if we're already supposed to know all of her friends and the story behind how and why she saved the universe in the first place, instead of being an introduction into that world. Like, no dude, I don't know the story of Yuna, and Yuri, and Polilina, and Paul, and Gregory, and Steven. I mean, The scene at the end of the OVA where all of the characters suddenly gain consciousness alone is just a showcase of that, as they introduce random characters complaining about the fact that they barely got any screen time, as if we're supposed to care about that, or as if it's like, as if we know these characters and like we're asking ourselves, wait, why didn't these characters get screen time? What the fuck, Yuna? If I was watching this with no context, which I barely have any anyway, I think I caught some random episode of an anime, and then I go back to watching. Actually, what the fuck even came out in 1995?
Hey guys, it's Future Bang here, and this fucking dumbass forgot some of the actual genre-defining classic animes that came out in 1995, such as Golden Boy, Gunsmith Cats, fucking Evangelion, Ghost in the Shell, Fusion Reborn, Whisper of the Heart, Wrath of the Dragon, The Slayers, that one anime with the one clip that you probably keep seeing all over Twitter right now, called Amor no Mocha.
Oh well, guess there's nothing I can do about it. And there's no point worrying about something you can't do anything to fix. There's no point worrying about things you can't fix.
I'm over here stroking my dick. I got lotion on my dick right now. I'm just stroking my shit. I'm horny as fuck, man. I'm a freak, man. Like...
Sorry guys, that was just me being stupid. Anyway, back to the review.
I mean, they do have some pretty notable VAs here, such as Yokoyama Chisa, who voiced Biscuit in Hunter x Hunter most famously, or Korogi Satomi, who voiced Zeno in Dragon Ball Super. That is about all of the praise I can give it. The plot is forgettable, it's terribly unfunny, none of the characters matter to me, but at the very least, it doesn't commit the crime of being immensely boring. But it still is kind of boring. 3 out of 10. Maybe I'm being too harsh, but it's a 3 out of 10 for me. Oh my god, it's time for the second OVA. The second OVA released in December 1996, coming out in the same year but much later as the third entry of the series, Galaxy Fraulein Yuna FX. This OVA is very different from the first one. It's almost a complete tonal shift from the first OVA, with the tone for the most part actually being pretty serious. The story of this OVA goes like this. We start seeing a screen inside of a ship showing a bunch of different people and places stating that they must be eliminated, including Yuna herself. Ooh, spooky. Roll intro. Anyway, after that, we get a scene of Yuna and Polilina performing at a concert that, in Japanese, actually doesn't sound half bad. But for my curiosity, I decided to switch the audio to English in this part to see what it would sound like. And I was greeted with this.
We want to hold the world the way you hold me. We want to embrace it and set it flood free. This could be our last chance and your heart is the key. Speaking from our heart to your kiss is guaranteed. Could be, you must not just...
Ignoring the atrocity that just happened, you might be wondering why the hell Yuna's performing at a concert in the first place. Well, as it turns out, Yuna actually had a career as an idol singer, but the only way you could have known this information is if you actually played the games, which just further illustrates the problem with both of these OVAs. As I've said, the way this anime is presented is just by throwing you into a world that you have no idea about, making it hard to be invested in it. The fact that this has an English dub in the first place is ridiculous, and as you could probably guess, it's kind of bad.
Something's wrong. That's not L-Line. It's a fake! Yuna, you're finished! You're such a blockhead!
But here's a question. Why the fuck does an anime about a video game series that never got released outside of Japan have an English dub? If the game itself already most likely isn't very popular in Japan, what gave them the idea to release an official dub for the non-existent Western audience? But I digress, man. Let's just go back to talking about the story. After witnessing Dante's Inferno, Yuna pulls out a giant hologram and begins giving a speech until suddenly, a mysterious person disrupts the entire speech, messing with Yuna's hologram and traumatizing an entire city. Yuna's homeroom teacher from the first OVA is exploring inside Yuna's school until she's attacked by the same person from the concert. We find out later that everyone was attacked, including the group of 13 and Erica 7. Hey, remember what I said about the show sucking as promotional material for the games? Anyway, we get introduced to these 3 random robot characters who have apparently taken human form, and we get the first actually funny joke in the OVAs.
わからない？どうしたの？どう？かわいいでしょう。あ、そんなことよりこれを。
It wasn't that funny, but it got a chuckle out of me, so +1 for you, Yuna. -5 billion for the monstrosity you put me through. Misaki informs Yuna someone stole data pertaining to Yuna herself. After that, we get a scene with our villains giving a monologue about how evil they are, proclaiming they'll take everything from Yuna away, and we find out their identity, the 3 demonic sisters. Oh, and Yuna's school gets blown up, but the way they show it is really weird. You'd think there would be like a big dramatic explosion, but instead it's just this. Anyway, Yuna gets attacked by one of the villains and then they immediately disappear. Immediately after that, the hospital Yuna was at starts getting attacked by the same little girl from the concert. We get to see 3 members of whatever the hell the Erica 7 is, and 2 of them try to attack her but instantly die. No, actually, instead they get saved by this one girl from the first OVA, whose entire joke is the fact that she is slow. Literally.
しおりちゃんは大丈夫だったの？は、その看護婦スタイルにやってるよ。制服もいい。あ、誰？さあ、カゴ。
Despite that, however, she actually manages to beat the shit out of the villain so badly, she cuts her hand off. Is this girl a top 5 representation of sloth in fiction? Anyway, the little girl starts throwing a tantrum over her hand and goes berserk. Big whoop, grow the fuck up. I've seen worse things in my life. And so she creates an energy field around the hospital. And Yuna's like, oh my god, she's just a little girl and she's crying. We can't kill her. We have to save her. And so she goes and meets one of the villains who we find out is named Ayako. Yuna tells her it'll all be okay and gives her a big old hug. The end. Of this episode at least, the next episode is pretty boring for like 12 minutes. The most interesting thing that happens is that at the very start of the episode, Ayako thinks of killing Yuna, but she doesn't. Then they're at an amusement park where Ayako's sister Kyoka shows up to try to kill Yuna, and this leads to nowhere because she just immediately leaves. But then after that, we get some real fucking shit. The main cast of characters find out about Ayako's true identity thanks to Misaki. Good on you, Misaki, proving your status as a special A-class inspector. We find out that the 3 demonic sisters are androids who tried to destroy their home planet, causing them to be exiled. They discuss the ethics behind killing Ayako until they're interrupted by Princess Mirage, who tells them she can't take control of her ship because of Kyoka. They get to Mirage's ship and meet Kyoka, who plans to blow up the Earth and starts a countdown. Yuna seemingly beats her, while at the same time Mirage manages to turn off the countdown at 9 seconds. However, Kyoka begins to hack the ship again, this time from the inside. So what they do to deal with it is reverse the energy of the Earth-destroying cannon while she's immobilized due to not having her core. And then she fucking dies. Jesus, that was unnecessarily brutal. That's the end of that episode, I guess. Now, it's time to finally talk about the final episode of the Galaxy Fraulein Yuna OVA. And get ready, because this one is actually gonna be a ride. The last episode begins with Ayako having PTSD because of the death of her sister. After that, Yuna and her gang find out about the last demonic sister, Genmu, and obviously so, she's the most powerful of them all, so they have to think up a strategy to beat her. However, Yuna is still reflecting on the fact that last episode they had to do this shit to Kyoka. What the But Polilina tells her that there was no other way and there's no point hesitating now, especially considering Genmu's power. We get a scene of Yuri showing Ayako her disgusting, satanic, gluttonous ways, until Ayako starts trauma dumping on her, but she doesn't really care enough to be distracted from eating her food, so she just tells her, hey, be friends with Yuna and also tell her to be friends with your sister. So Ayako goes to do that, and Yuna's like, sure. Oh no, if only Yuna knew. Oh no. Anyway, the big bad Genmu immediately shows up and starts destroying the city. Ayako tries to talk some sense into her, but she's like, I don't give a fuck, and freezes her ass. Yuri tries to save her, but then immediately gets the food beaten out of her. Yuna gets to Yuri and seemingly gets blown up and dies, so everyone else tries to fight Genmu and miserably fails. But as it turns out, Yuna's not actually dead. Genmu goes up to Yuna and essentially tells her, you could never understand my pain because you were always happy and with friends, unlike me. Oh wow, is this a top 5 representation of envy in fiction? But Yuna's like, well, you don't have to be alone. But Genmu doesn't listen and tries to kill Yuna either way. So Ayako steps in, saying that Yuna is her friend and that we can all be friends. Genmu sees how sad she is and realizes the error of her ways, and they have a big old hug fest. And then this happens.
Sayonara.
Holy shit! When I was watching this, it was genuinely kind of unexpected. I did not expect this show, of all things, to kill off a character in this way. This is honestly an actually sort of well done scene, and I feel like the aspect ratio change to make it feel more cinematic just really elevates the drama of what's going on. I have to give props where it's due. +2 for you, Yuna. You still have -5 billion because of that fucking thing. Anyway, Ayako dies, and I guess this causes Yuna to go Super Saiyan because she starts pulling shit like this. She kills Genmu, which saddens her as she promised Ayako she would become friends with her, until suddenly this fucking gigantic Half-Life Nailith looking thing comes out of nowhere to harvest the souls of the demonic sisters. So Yuna and Yuri go into their mecha to fight it. Yuna is hesitant at first because of the fact that Ayako's core is in there, but sees there is no way to kill it without destroying the core of Ayako. The robot gets the power to kill the thing, but Yuna is still hesitating, while what I am assuming are some of her long-lasting friends are sacrificing their lives, trusting that she does something. I understand the struggle, but it's like Yuna forgets that in this thing there are the souls of not one, but 2 people who try to kill Yuna and her friends multiple times, with one of them literally being the reason as to why Ayako is dead in the first place. She doesn't even bother to acknowledge this. It's like it just crosses her mind. Anyway, eventually thanks to Ghost Ayako's encouragement, she shoots the damn thing and saves the day. Yuna is still heartbroken by the fact that she had to kill Ayako and cries as she holds Ayako's core in her hands. Wait, when the fuck did she get Ayako's core? When suddenly, all of Yuna's friends spawn in and start singing the ending theme from the first OVA and... Wait, that's it? I mean, okay. Kind of anticlimactic considering what just transpired, but this OVA was actually better, at least compared to the first OVA. The main conflict is actually entertaining and kind of interesting compared to the first OVA. The action sequences, for the most part, are decent compared to the first one. The action scenes are really lackluster and boring. The demonic sisters are much better villains compared to Fraulein D. Fraulein D. Well, I say the demonic sisters, but I really only mean Ayako and Genmu. Kyoka does fucking nothing for the OVA plot-wise or character-wise. The shift into a more serious narrative also sells the dramatic moments a lot more compared to the first OVA. In some ways, it's a massive improvement, but it still suffers from a lot of the same troubles the first OVA suffers from. The cast of characters is still unimportant, the plot is still basic, the comedy is still unfunny as hell, except for that one joke. And as I've already said a lot throughout this review, it just doesn't work as promotional material for the game franchise at all. On top of all of that, these OVAs are so vapid in the first place that you're literally just bound to forget about them after watching, with the only real way of remembering the fact that you watched these in the first place is by checking what anime you've logged on your MAL or your Annie list and being like, oh right, I did watch that I guess. Overall, while it's kind of an improvement in some areas, it's really not by much at all. But it is something. I would rate it a 5 out of 10, but I could see myself lowering it to a 4 instead of raising it. And that's it. That was Galaxy Fraulein Yuna, an obscure, uninteresting, and unremarkable adaptation of a game franchise that already isn't very well known either. When I went into this, I was kind of expecting a lot more. I've heard a lot of talk about random anime OVAs ending up being better than a lot of the dog shit that's on the MAL or AniList Top 100. Now, that's obviously not to say that this anime proves that that notion is wrong. It obviously could still be true, but this definitely doesn't help its case. This is an incredibly forgettable experience that doesn't even justify its existence as promotional material. I'm sure the visual novels themselves are maybe good, but this anime just doesn't pique my interest for them in any way whatsoever. So one must ask, why the hell does this anime exist? I'm not a Maho Shoujo or mecha hater. In fact, I enjoy both genres quite a lot, especially mecha. But despite the fact that this anime mixes both of these genres, it does nothing that makes it really stand out. The mecha aspects specifically are so few and far between that it might as well not even be part of the show at all. I'm not sure if even people who have played the games love or even seriously like this as an adaptation. I thought this would be a hidden gem or something, but it's just hidden, and that's really all there is to it. Well, that's my review of Galaxy Fraulein Yuna. Thank you for watching. I know this is definitely very different from what I've done in the past, if you've even seen one of my videos in the past, but I eventually had to upload something before my last upload became a year old. Oh, it already has. Anyway, I just want to mention to any viewers who have been maybe watching my channel for a little and, are subscribed or whatever, sorry for no videos at all. I will try to upload more, and I do have some video ideas that I'm juggling around in my brain, but the thing is, I'm just incredibly lazy, and I was very unmotivated to upload anything really, and any video ideas that I had, I did scrap them, because either I wasn't very interested in them, or I just gave up. And to any new viewers, I guess I'll upload more for you guys. Like I said, I have some video ideas that are going around in my head that I'm considering doing or not. We'll see if I actually go through with them, and so, stay tuned. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe and everything and all of that. And I promise I'll try to upload more videos. And I'll see you guys next time. Again, I don't think my question was answered. Why the fuck does this anime have an English dub?